Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Money Mondays. I'm Belinda Ray, the Director of Strategic Partnerships here at GPCOG,
And I'm Paul Johnson, the Economic Development Director here at GPCOG.
and we're here for Money Mondays. Yay! This is our weekly webinar to present opportunities for funding opportunities and regional resources for our partners and municipal members. And if you have questions as we go along, please feel free to type them right in to the Q&A and we will get to them at the end. We also always send out our slides and a link to the video afterwards so you can watch it over and over and over again and send it to all of your friends because it is the best 10 to 15, under 15 minutes you will spend on a Monday. All right, with that, I think we are ready to go. So we've been doing this forever. I still can't find that share button when I want it, but there it is. Okay.
All right, here we go. First of all, I'm using a different setup than I usually do. So if I don't look at you, audience, I'm sorry. It's nothing personal. And quick programming note, we're going to mention it again, but we will not be on next Monday because it will probably be low participation with Thanksgiving. So we will resume in 2 Mondays. So with that, I today am going to do a quick recap on question 2. Question 2 was approved by the voters of the state of Maine a couple weeks ago. And so I just want to reiterate what it is. And we all voted on it. So we read the ballot, but it's worth kind of getting a quick overview of what's coming and the program itself. So as a reminder, voters approved a $25 million research and development bond. And this bond will be administered by the Maine Technology Institute. So I linked MTI's website there if you want to click around. If you haven't spent time on MTI's website, I think I did a Money Mondays on it a few months back. But they will be the administrator of this. This is essentially just a grant. So the ballot's just a fancy way of saying this is a grant that will have grant process. MTI hasn't fully developed the actual process or the scoring rubric yet, so there's not anything on the website, but it might be worth in your travels if you're discussing funding opportunities to small businesses or medium businesses. Actually, this is just a good place to point them there and say, hey, this will be coming and this is the organization to get yourself familiar with. The amounts are going to be a 1-to-1 match of private or federal funds. So if you do apply for this grant, if a business does apply for this grant, there will need to be at least a 1-to-1 match. That can be with private funds, or it can be with another federally funded grant, since this is a state-funded grant by the taxpayers. And it will be open to public and private institutions in certain industries, which I am going to get to on the next slide. But a quick note about public and private institutions. That is, as you know, public institutions means it's going to swing open the doors for all the other nonprofits in Maine to gobble up the money. So my tax hawk in me is telling you to help me get this information to actual businesses that are going to use this for research and development, or you're going to have a bunch of nonprofits like GPCOG come and suck all this money out of the room, right? So just realize that they're going to be competing against nonprofits as well. So with that being said, the sectors, for those of you that may remember, GPCOG ran the domestic trade grant program this past year. These sectors that qualify are very similar to what qualified for the domestic trade grant. So this is pretty consistent with Governor Mills' 10-year economic development plan. These are the sectors that the state has been hammering home pretty hard. And you can list them there. I'm not going to go through all of them. I will say, notice that there isn't retail. Retail has been one that's been on this list. There's no retail. This really is technology based. You can tell by the sector names here that it's really technology based. The next page this has happened before. So this is important. Because you could start now, if you have businesses, if you're an economic development director in town, you can start thinking about what businesses might actually might qualify and how you could help them now start preparing an application, right? A lot of these applications look the same. So if you could start laying the groundwork with people in your community and business owners in your community saying, okay, do I have a business that might benefit from R&D? Are they looking to raise capital? And can I start
Okay. Paul, I thought I just froze, but now I am thinking maybe it was Paul. So hold on 1 second if I am still live. Yeah, looks like I am still here. Okay. We can see if Paul rejoins and he can finish up. And what I'll do, yeah, I was the next slide. So I'll jump ahead to mine. And then if Paul is able to rejoin, we will. Thank you, Chris Chop, letting me know he can hear me. I'm like, am I doing this for anybody? Okay, thank you. So yeah, we'll keep going from here. And if Paul comes back, he can finish. And if he can't finish, we'll figure it out. So today I wanted to talk about the Maine Community Building Program. It is a program through Maine Community Foundation, provides general support and project support throughout the state of Maine. The focus areas for this grant are all of these you see: arts, education, environment, economic development, human services. I just got, yeah, Paul says the internet's down at the office, so I don't think he's going to be able to finish, but we'll make it up to you. This eligible organizations are municipalities, public schools, tribal governments, charitable organizations, and public agencies working for the state of Maine. And there are two types of grants available within this pot. There's general support. This is not for municipalities, so I'm not going to talk a lot about this one, but if other folks are listening, you might want to look at this. Project grants are things that municipalities can go for. This is if your budget's over 500K, although you'll see below that if your budget is not over 500K, if you're a municipality or a government agency or a school, you can go ahead and apply anyway. Your total project budget, though, does have to be 100,000 or less. So these project grants, as I said, this is what we're going to focus on because the general support is not for municipalities. Uses for this grant. There's one use right there, and there was a community in Maine that used one of these grants to help with a park they were redoing. They used the funds they were able to get from this grant to get a baseball backstop at their park. But what the funds can be used for is to invest in people, to engage the people that you serve, to strengthen community resources. These are absolutely, you have to be doing all three of these things to apply. So some recent winners, MacArthur Library Association purchased an electric bicycle with book storage so they could bring books around to people. That was a $9,500 grant. Springvale Public Library used the funding to install an automatic door at their facility. And Casco, you got a 10,000 grant for infrastructure improvements. We also have Avesta got money for gardens, sustainable gardens, and a food bank in Harrison. And then, as I said, Casco for that backstop for their baseball field. Key features of this program: the max funding is 10,000, which I know is not a lot when we've been talking about a bunch of federal ones that are like millions of dollars, but this is a great way. If you've got a project that you are just beginning, it needs to be a new project within its first 2 years, and you've got something that you need to purchase for that project, a piece of the project that can be satisfied with this, this is a way to help cobble together that funding. You can't spend more than 20% of your grant on administration. You can't put the money toward endowments, annual appeals, or scholarship programs. As I said, the project must do those three things that were on a previous slide. The difficulty is 3. I would actually maybe even go 2 on this because it's not a super long application. Once you figure out how to get into the portal, it's like going right through the process. It'll walk you through the whole thing. It's not terribly involved, not a huge budget to put together. So it's a pretty easy one to put together. And the deadline is February 14th. So if you don't have a project in mind yet, you have some time to think about it. Paul, welcome back. You've got your internet. I sat like a silly person because I didn't know if it was you or me for a while. So we'll go back to your.
Where did I freeze?
You were on this slide.
Okay.
I don't remember what. So yeah. Okay,
right.
Everybody, put it back together.
Here I am again. Yay. There's no office up here. I mean, there's no internet here at GPCOG, but I hotspot my phone real quick. So, so what I was saying is this grant has been done before. So the voters approved something very similar in 2017. There's $45 million of funding then through 18 projects. So you can see those are large projects, approximately $2.5 million a piece or a little bit less. All right, exactly, right. But something to keep in mind is these things have been funded. So if you want to essentially look into some of these projects, see what they're all about, it might give you an idea again of where is that business in town that I could possibly reach out to now and just prime the pump that this is coming. So Hyperlight Mountain Gear in Biddeford, Jackson Laboratory in Ellsworth, and the expansion of the aerospace facility in Bangor. Those are 3 examples that were funded last year. If you're in the area, you can drive down to the Biddeford Mills and walk through the Hyperlight Mountain Gear and probably interview them, and they could give you some idea. I think they have a pretty open door policy there. You could just ask them, pick their brain on how they ended up with the funding. But anyways, that's my pitch for question 2. Remember, there's competition for private and public sector. I'd love to see 100% of this money go to the private sector and businesses with worthwhile projects. And it has been done before, so we know what it's going to look like. So I encourage you, if you have that pet project in town, in that industrial park, and that commercial facility, wherever it is, every town has one laboratory or tech business that they're thinking about. What can we do for them? This is a great example of how you could help them.
Fantastic. And I do have to note, Paul, we got the extra people we needed for you to bring the
I
belt,
know,
but
I
you
know,
don't have
I
the
know.
belt.
I know. I promise. I'm at the office today. I promise when I'm at home in 2 weeks, because we're skipping next
Right.
Monday because of Thanksgiving, I will be wearing the $1 Million Man's Championship belt from the ladies wrestling. So.
All right. All right. That's wonderful. That'll be December 2nd. Come back for the belt. Stay for the information. All right. There is, I see something. Oh no, that was just Chris letting me know. I sat here mute for a while, not knowing what was going on. Okay. Thanks everybody. Have a great week. We will see you on the 2nd. Happy Thanksgiving. Take care.